Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our winter gnome card. This one has a pretty simple little pop-up element inside. We'll go through that here in just a moment, but we're going to start off by putting together the face of the card, which is pretty cute and relatively simple. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, it's probably one of the first times, believe it or not, that I've actually run an embossing folder through a card like this. So let me actually show you how I did it. This is, I think, how they were originally designed to be used. I just never really have done it this way, but you can literally take the folded card and pop it in there like this. The back of it's going to go behind it and feed that through your machine. Now, one other thing that you'll notice is that we have a solid scoreline version of the card base, but the version the perforated version that you typically find in the default SVG folder does not have score lines, and we did that on purpose because of the pop-up mechanism that goes inside. It's kind of bulky, and we didn't want it to split the perforated score line. So all you want to do is just fold it in half like you used to back in the day in grade school when you were folding construction paper in half. Very simple. Okay, so there's your card base. And here is the face of the card. We're going to start off with this little layer of pine trees. And we're going to take, in my case, I have a green foil. Got this green foil. I don't use that very often, usually around holiday time, I would say. I'm going to take this, and you can see that the edge of this is kind of like, it's just rough and rustic. I thought that was a cool little touch to add to a little woodland card like this. Now, obviously, you've got a lot of little details on this tree here. I wouldn't worry about trying to get every little inch of it covered with glue. Just throw some on there, and then what I would do is just kind of dab that with your finger. And those little areas where you've got some dots of glue, just to thin it out. Not that it's really going to blemish anything, mostly because it's going on a white glitter. But line that up as accurately as you can, and then press that down. And what I would do, if you're using a foil, is flip this over and actually push from the other side so that you don't get any fingerprints on that foil, which is pretty easy to do. Okay, I'm just kind of adjusting it a little bit. And I'm actually going to take this and pop it underneath my mat to let the mat kind of help it dry nice and flat. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll work on putting together our little gnome. Okay, I kind of have them laid out for the most part here. And we're going to start with this black layer. I'm going to take this red layer and we're going to glue that onto the black. Nice and easy. Don't overdo it with the glue. Okay, I'll flip that over, and just want to match this up with the various elements that are on that black layer. Pom-pom, his outfit, so on and so forth. Just line that up as accurately as you can. See, I've got little bits of glitter all over the place. So I'm a big fan of that POW glitter, which gives the illusion of glitter without the mess, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Okay, next, we're going to take this little layer here, and we'll flip this around, apply our glue. Nice and easy. This is a very small little piece. You don't need to cake it with a ton of glue. Okay, and then just match it up with the shadow layer elements there. Pop that into position as accurately as you can. On this white pearlescent paper, I did hit this with a little bit of blue, like a light blue ink, which I thought was a nice touch. We have a little pom-pom here. I'm not sure if this is symmetrical or not. It looks like it is. So just pop that into place, just a few little dots. Scribble that around and pop that into place. Just like that. Okay. And let's put his belt on. Okay. This belt is going to go just above this little area here where the bottom of his coat splits into two. Should be flush with the edge. There's a little bit of a shorter side and a longer side. Your longer side is going to go to the right. Okay, so just visualize it, make sure that it looks like it's in the right spot. Press that down, just like that. Let's add his little belt buckle. Just a few dots here and there. Again, the smaller the piece, the less glue you really need. It's not really going to go anywhere. And match that up. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, now a couple things we can do here. We can make the little lantern. We have this red layer that's going to go on top of the gold. If you want to use, you can use anything you want really. You don't have to do gold. It could be a cool patterned paper if you have, something that mimics light. It could even be a cardstock that maybe you ink to give the illusion that it's glowing. A lot of different options there. Now the handle is relatively thin, so be careful not to rip it or tear it. Match up the main part of this lantern first, and then go ahead and if you need to kind of adjust the location or the placement of that little red part, you can do that, that's fine. Okay, and then you can see that there's a clear shadow layer for where the lantern is going to go on our little gnome. So just make sure that you line that up accurately. Put a little bit of glue on that little finial or handle at the top of the lantern to make sure that that sits nice and flat and doesn't inadvertently get yanked at or ripped. And I need to adjust that a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Press that into place, and there's our little gnome holding his lantern as he's walking through a snowy forest. Okay, the little parts for his shoe, they are symmetrical, pretty identical, I would say. So just grab one, pop it in place, grab the other one, pop it in place. It's pretty obvious where they go. Just like that. Okay, and then this element here, I've got this white pearlescent. It's going to go on top of this peach, I think it's peach sherbet maybe? Not sure. I think that's the color. It's going to go on like that. And then we have the little element for his nose, which is again, it's like a POW glitter. I'll flip this over and press on the other side. And this can get glued down flat if you want, or you can use some foam squares to add some dimension to Santa's face. If you are mailing this, maybe it's better to glue it down flat if you're hand delivering and you don't need to worry about it going through the mail, then you can use a foam square to give it a little oomph. Okay, there's his nose. Press that down. There we go. And you can see where this is going to go. It's going to go right here. It looks great flat. Okay. You can, again, add some dimension to it by using some foam squares, which will elevate it slightly. And I'm just going to do that. I figure I can always change it later if I don't like it. Because if I do put this on and it rips off a little bit of this white that it's on, we're going to put it right back in the same spot. It'll cover up any little rips that you may get. And there you go. Okay, so there's our little gnome / Santa, whatever you want to call him. Okay, let's pull this piece back out. And that does not look the best. But most of the areas that, for whatever reason, I can see the glue showing through here, but luckily, all these pieces that I'm going to put over it are going to cover up those sections that I don't like, so we're okay. But maybe not the best foil to use. Anyway, let's go ahead and just apply this layer now. Get your glue going here. Just like that. Okay. And let's match this up. Looking at the four corners first. And bringing it down. I see a little bit of that green poking out, but that's probably just, that's what happens. Sometimes machines are not the most accurate. That's okay. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back under my mat and let it dry nice and flat before we move on here. In the meantime, let's do this. A couple things we can do here. While we wait for that, let's take a look at the envelope real quick. Okay, I've got it pre-folded here, and we also have this little element. That's going to get glued inside like that. So what we want to do here is we'll apply a little bit of glue around the little cutouts. Okay, just around the little cutouts here. And then on this, let's just do a little bit of glue right around the perimeter on the outer edge. Nice and easy. And then go ahead and take this. I got my texture side facing away from me. Pop that onto this flap nice and centered and press it down. Okay, you can take these two side flaps, bring them in, apply your glue right here along the inside of each of these little wings, like so. I'm going to bring this up and press right along that glue line. And close this up. Okay, and then let's grab these two pieces for the other lantern. It's going to go on the envelope. And just like we did with the lantern that our Santa gnome is holding, we're going to glue these two layers together. Make sure you get a little bit around that ring. Okay. And pop that right on there, and then that's going to go right onto our envelope. Just match that up. There's a nice warm glow from that foil. There we go. Okay. And then you can see here there's a series of little markers at the bottom of the main flap. We'll throw a little bit of glue on the back of our lantern and use those little guides to pop this right in between there. There you go. Let me press that down. What a nice little touch of color to the back of the envelope. So that's that. Put that off to the side. This little piece here, we have two additional little pieces of gold, the little rectangles. We'll take those and just apply some glue to the rectangle and then pop them right in the center so you have an even border all the way around on these two sections here. These are little tabs. We'll be utilizing them in a little bit, but for now, we just need to get these glued down. Just kind of eliminating pieces as we wait for our main little section to dry. Okay, so that looks great. Now these little guys here, we're going to use these. These are going to be our little mechanism that we're going to use for our pop-up in the center of the card. Okay, so here's what we need to do. This tree here, without any slits, is going to be our center tree. And then we're going to have the two remaining trees are going to be left and right. We're going to actually glue these back to back like this to make a dimensional tree. But before we do that, I want to take this part here. Now you'll notice that there's 3 score lines. 2 of them are next to a series of tabs, and 1 is essentially just a fold line. So when this thing does close, this piece will actually fold for you. Now what we need to do first is we need to take one of the little tabs and slide it through the slit, and we're going to glue this to the back side of our tree. Okay, so just throw a little dot of glue on that tab, make sure it's all the way through, and then just press and hold it down. Okay, make sure it's relatively straight as well, and all the way in there. Then we're going to take the other tab, we're going to feed it through, we're going to fold that over, It might help to fold it first, and then feed it through, and then we're going to glue it to itself like that, and it should fold like this, okay? But we do need to glue this to the back side of the other side of our tree. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there and fold it over. So it's going to kind of keep it from opening too much. But at the same time, you should be able to fold it flat so that you can press that tab into place. Okay, so this is as far as it will open, which is what we want. Okay. So now this one here is fine. You don't need to mess with that, but we do need to do the same thing with this one here. Make sure you fold at that center mark. Go ahead and place the tab through as far as it'll go up to that fold. And then on this side here, place a little bit of glue on that tab, and then fold it over onto itself and just press and hold. Make sure it's relatively straight. Then we're going to take this other tab and feed it through the other slit. Okay, and again, it should fold flat. And then we'll take and apply glue to the back of this one and close it up, press it down. Okay, looking good so far. There we go. So again, it's only going to open up so much, which is fine. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and glue the center tree, the one without any slits or tabs, to one side of the tree with the little markers on it. Okay, so what I would suggest doing is just taking this piece here and applying your glue. Now we'll do our best to get glue on as much of this as possible, although it's a lot of real estate to cover, and we may need to go back and do a little bit of painting. We'll see. Okay, you can put some glue over that tab too. It's not a big deal. And then take this tree here without the tabs on it, and without the tabs, and just line that up as accurately as you can, all the way up and down. And then once you have it, you can actually take it and just fold this whole thing onto itself, which actually helps this thing get ready for action as well. And just keep pressing down until you get a real strong hold throughout the whole thing. When we open it up, take a look at all those little seams there. Make sure everything is sitting nice and tight. Okay, that looks good so far. And to wrap it up, we're going to take this tree now and glue it right here like so. So we can take and apply glue to this section that we've already kind of completed, so to speak. And just run your glue out to the limbs of the trees, the outer limbs. Get some on the trunk, up the main part. There we go. And if it helps, you can just lay that down on your surface. And I'm going over here to these bottom sets of branches, lining that up first. And making sure everything is as lined up as possible. If you're a little bit off, it's going to be okay, but do your best. And then you can take the whole thing and just press it down so that that glue really grabs it, especially up here at the top where we have less surface area for it to grab onto. But really, you want to make sure you're pushing along the entire thing. Okay. Make sure that's all nice and even down at the bottom by the trunk. There we go. Okay, so the idea is when we open this, it grabs this side and this side and opens it up for us. Otherwise, the center could technically have a mind of its own, which is why we added those little tabs. We wanted to avoid that. But there's our beautiful little tree that's going to go inside. Okay, so let's pull this back out for just a moment. We have one more little section here. It's going to go right here, kind of like a little puzzle, to add kind of a second layer of snow. So let's go ahead and apply our glue. And this is, again, going on a green foil, which can take a few moments to set, and push that down as far as it'll go up against that bottom layer. Whoops. And just hold that in place for a moment. That looks good. Okay, so now we have the caption ho ho ho. Two of the sections of ho 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 are welded together. Those are going to be left and right. The section that's separated is going in the middle. And we were thinking about using that method. Now, real quick, you'll notice that there's a series of little markers here to help you with the positioning of this. Now, on a glitter paper like this, it may be a little difficult to see. You can always eyeball it. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm going to take my little exclamation point, and I think I see it here. It is roughly just slightly above the height of the O. Okay, so I was barely able to see the little score mark to help me with the placement of the H, but it's there. I'll put the little O there and the exclamation point. And then we've got one more section of caption here. And just try to make sure that it's good and centered. That little marker, I believe, is right about there. Kind of hard to see, but I think it'll turn out okay. Just try to get it centered if you're not able to see the markers. On some glitters, not this one, that's for sure. Some glitters it is easier to see than others, but I think that's going to look okay. And one more little exclamation point. Okay. Let's get that in place. Get on there, buddy. All right, so the idea, I think, is to, you can do it a couple ways. I'm probably going to glue this down flat. You could foam square it if you want to add some dimension to this section, because you'll end up getting a nice little shadow behind the trees, which is always nice, but you could go flat. I'm undecided. And then Santa, actually, don't know if you can see the markers there. Yep, there are some markers that go around his little feet, right about there. Okay, and I am going to foam square him, but I'm going to do that after I get the card base constructed, because here's what we need to do. It's going to be a little bit of strategery here. Okay, now you'll notice on the front of this card, there's a series of little markers. Okay, and you should be able to see them from the inside. We want to use those markers to position this little piece inside here. You want the one with the little slit towards the right-hand side. Okay, now for this step here, it's important that we only apply glue to this section here, just above that little slit. We're going to paint some glue after we get this in place to finish this off. But you do want to align this with that little marker, the top left corner. You want to align that with the marker. Make sure it also is aligned down here to the marker that's down here. There we go. Press that down. If you have a brayer, I would use that. And again, try not to glue down the bottom part for this little tab or that little slit. We need that slit for later in the process here. Okay. Press that down. And we're going to take this side here. And ideally what you want to make sure you do here is just get it lined up at the same height on each side. And we'll do the same thing on this side here. Keep the glue above the slit level. Right about there. And just make sure that you should have markers there on the top right and bottom right. And then when you put that in there using the markers, these should line up on the same plane here. Should be lined up here on the bottom, and then the top should match as well. We've given a little bit of wiggle room. Again, I didn't put any glue on the bottom of this. just that bottom section, so it should still be accessible. Okay, so next step is to take our tree, and you can see that the tree is going to go right in the center of this card. And you can see that it folds flat. Now once we actually glue it to the two sides, the sides will help us open this up. So here's my suggestion for this. Suggestion is we're going to apply glue to one half of this. We're going to pop it right in the center. And you just want to make sure that it's literally right in the center of the card. We're going to push it in as far as it'll go. And then just hold it there while we press down, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. And we want to be very patient as we wait for this to dry. Try to get some glue out to the ends of the branches, but definitely focus plenty of glue, well, not plenty, don't get crazy with it, along the center. All the way down to the trunk, like so. Okay, so very carefully. Go ahead and close it kind of halfway. Lay it down on the side that doesn't have glue and push it as far as it'll go in the center. Okay, and then go ahead and close it. And let's be patient here. It's very patient here. Don't push too hard. You don't want to ruin the seam here. You want to keep it as clean as possible. And just keep on holding. There we go. Like that. Give that a second. Okay, looks pretty centered for me. Good. Now we'll flip it over here and we'll apply glue to the other half of the tree on the back side. I'm just going to close it. Just kind of naturally we'll find its groove. Get some on the star. Work your way along the inside. There we go. And then just go ahead and take that, press it down initially, and then go ahead and take it and close it the other way and press very gently. Usually we do the envelope last, but it's already done. So we've got like one or two steps left and we're ready to rock. Now I would be cautious here. I always should probably take more time waiting for things to set than I do, but I get a little anxious on camera. And there you go. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when it opens up. A nice dimensional tree pops out for you. Okay, now here's what we need to do to finish this off. We have kind of we're going to do is slide this under here, like so. We're going to slide this under here, like so. Like that. Let's make sure it closes. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some scrap paper, nice thick amount, or a thick piece. Throw a little bit of glue on there, like this. And especially in this area here, remember this is not glued down all the way. We can lift it up ever so slightly. We're going to paint some glue right on the back of this, all the way down to the corner. Now we can go ahead and close it and press down right on that area. Okay, give that a few moments to set. Nice. And that should keep it in place because while we did that, we did smear a little bit of glue on that bottom pop-up mechanism as well. Okay, so don't stretch it out too far. Lift it up here at the bottom where we did not apply any glue. Mine's a little sticky because I did actually accidentally get a little bit of glue on that section. Just paint some glue right on there and then press that down. You can actually do this while it's open up to this part here, but the rest of it you'll need to close it so that you can press right in that little spot. Okay, and there you go. So how cool is that? Plenty of room for your little sentiment or whatever you need to do. Now we can close this up finally. And again, whether it be glued down flat or foam squared, let's go with the foam squares. Why not? Let's do it. Let's add some nice dimension to this. I'm going to be hand delivering this one anyway, so why the heck not? Always start in the corners and then find the middle point between those corners. Try to find thicker areas to place it so it doesn't accidentally come peeking out. Okay, I think that's probably good. This is a pretty thick piece with all the different layers, so we don't need to do a lot of reinforcement. It's going to stay pretty stiff for us, I'd imagine. I'm not worried about putting any of these on the trees. Again, those are 3 thick layers of paper. They're not going anywhere. I'm not going to worry about them. Let's peel that off. Okay. And just get that nice and centered on the front of your card. Like that. Beautiful. And let's finish it off with our cute little gnome. Remember, there's some markers there to help you with the positioning. And you can either glue them down flat, or I'm going to add some more dimension. We'll go one there, one here. Let's put one on the lantern so he doesn't get snagged. One there, 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 and there should be good enough. Peel those off, and that is going to do it for this lovely card with that cute little novelty pop-up inside. That is not only cute, but super simple. Okay, let's find the markers and get him situated. Voila. That's it. Super cute. How about that? What a wonderful card. So you can see here, will fit perfectly. And that's going to do it, guys. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button while you're there. Hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make Mr. Gnome here, I'd love to see him. And so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook, do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 47,000 of our closest crafty friends. So anyway, hope you had a blast. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.